Hi, I'm Blair Lee, and welcome to This is Homeschooling. Today I'm going to talk about homeschooling and only. Now, this is something that I know a lot about because I homeschooled an only. When I started homeschooling my only, I was concerned about the academics. Why? Because I had pulled him out of school because the school wasn't meeting his academic needs. And so I wanted to make sure that that was something that I did. And so I put all my energy and all my plans into making sure that I could deliver on that. That doesn't mean that I didn't eventually come to realize that there are a lot of things that need to be thought of when you're homeschooling and only. The collaboration side, the working together on things, the modeling that happens in a classroom when one learner watches another learner work. Those are all things that I came to realize I was going to have to figure out how to address. And then there's the socialization side. Anyone who's homeschooling an only child will tell you that there needs to be some thought and some planning that goes into socializing with an only, unless you have a very large friend group and or families group where there's a lot of kids around the same age as your learner. Collaborative work is really valuable. And so how can you incorporate that into your homeschool? Well, you do it by collaborating with your learner. And I will tell you that this is one of the most meaningful sides of homeschooling is that shared experience, shared learning experience. So the way I did it is through an I do, we do, you do approach. The I do is where you model your thinking and how you're doing the work. The we do is where you scaffold for your learner. Now, sometimes this is where you're both working on the same problem, you're asking them leading questions. At other times, it's that you're both working side by side. This is usually for middle school on up. So, for example, when your child is writing, you're writing. When your child is doing math, work on the budget, whatever. Do those things. And then make a menu list, whatever. And then the you do. You do is when you feel that they have some mastery around the learning. And that is the collaborative experience that you can get that way. Now, I also took a couple of classes with my learner of things I didn't know. That was like so cool. It was so cool to be a learner with my learner, and we would talk about things. And it actually led to me modeling other things like how do you have an academic conversation about what you're learning? How do you take notes that are worth taking? Those were things that happened as an extension of the two of us learning together. So I really put a lot of focus into how I could create a collaborative experience around learning. And this really benefited my learner when he went to college and he had group projects. He was always one of the group members who everybody loved, did the work on time, showed up whenever there needed to be a brainstorming session. And so it had consequences, long-ranging consequences, that I didn't have any idea were going to happen. A homeschooled education is a handcrafted one that focuses on the strengths, passions, and challenges of the individual learner. When you're homeschooling and only, you can tailor something that is really special and meaningful for just that one learner. There's nobody competing for your handcrafting skills. As far as strengths, you can just sort of take the ceiling off and let your learner soar in those areas that they want to soar in. As far as their passions, yo, this is so fun. Your learner on dragging you along. You can do a lot of those passion projects. And as far as challenges, where your learner is challenged, you can put a lot of time and a lot of thought into the scaffolded support that they need to work on those areas that they find challenging. This is one of the reasons that people who homeschool kids who have learning challenges, a homeschooled education where there is that targeted, thoughtful support it has been long known, long before I started homeschooling. People were aware that when kids who had learning challenges that really weren't being addressed in a school setting, when they were brought home and very focused and intentionally supported in homeschooling, that the academic results were really impressive. Another thing that people worry about when they're homeschooling and only is conflict resolution within their peer group. Honestly, whether your child is in a traditional school setting or in a homeschool setting, the one way that kids learn conflict resolution skills is by watching their primary caregivers. So be really thoughtful. If this is a concern of yours, the first place to look is how you deal with conflict. And then make sure that you are modeling conflict resolution skills that you would like to see your child use. And when they have conflict with you, how are you handling that? And if you're handling it, great, but they need some work, which, hello, they're just kids. That is the way that's going to happen. Help them find their words. Help them, especially when they're no longer angry. My whole family makes fun of me because of this. But after there's been a conflict, I will wait till everything is cooled down, and then I will go and have a conversation about the conflict if it wasn't handled in a way that really led to resolution. Now, what you might not realize about me is I am so ridiculously chill. The people who work for me and my family will tell me I'm too chill sometimes, and I really let things go. I don't hold on to anything that's really negative. I resolve things or I walk away from things. Those are my two number one strategies. And so my concern was that my learner would be too chill, where I'm an extrovert, he's an introvert. And so I thought, what if this super easygoing, chill kid doesn't handle conflict well? Is he going to get bullied? That was my big concern. But I don't get bullied, and so we'd been and my husband doesn't get bullied because we will wait until something really bothers us enough, and then we handle it by having a real conversation so that there's some resolution around it when tempers aren't heated. And that is, it turns out, how my child dealt with it. It was really interesting the first couple of times to watch him when he first I'm not dealing with this. And he was either very vocal about that with someone to maintain the friendship, or he just told me it was time to leave, or time for that person to go home. Socialization for your only actually takes some thought, and it's going to take you getting out there. Now, I hear from people all the time, or read from it all the time, where someone is an introvert and they're like, oh, I've got to get my only out there. I actually commend you for realizing that. it is important that your learner has peers that they're hanging out with, that they have people that they like, that they feel liked by. Those things are all really good. They're good for a person's mental health, and they're awfully good for their growth. And that is something that if you have an only, that you're going to have to make sure it happens for your learner. Now, when I was homeschooling my only, there weren't all these wonderful online groups and communities. Now, that's enough for some kids, and it's not enough for other kids. If that's enough for your learner and they're telling you that that's enough for them, and you see that your child shows all the signs of being happy as far as their mental health goes, don't worry about it if it's online. Some people, that in this day and age, that is enough for them. I don't want to get into that. For those of you that disagree with me, feel free to disagree. My only child, I was in a competitive ski team, and he made an awful lot of friends that way. And so socialization wasn't really an issue until high school. So after 2 complex concussions, which are I'm not going to go into, but I did on another episode, the skiing really wasn't an option anymore. Then so then I had to work to find socializations opportunities. I ended up teaching a in-person science co-op for 2 years so that he had a friend group that way. That was a lot of work. We went to homeschool conferences. He made friends that way, and I would drive him around, and I would open my house up to people, and I did what it took. How you're going to find these opportunities has a lot to do with your family, it's where you live, and really what your kid is drawn to. You can create community through academic. You can find there with all the micro schools and co-ops that are popping up. You can find socializations opportunities through them wherever you live. And if you can't find what you need, think about creating it. Find out if there's interest. Create an interest form and put it in a local homeschooling group, a state homeschooling group, or go in to see if there's anybody in your area who would be interested in sort of that shared learning opportunity. Find an online, in-person community where book clubs are really good for that, because kids are sharing academic, what they thought when they read a book. If your child needs really more of a social component that doesn't revolve around academics, and they're not into athletics, if they're into athletics, start signing them up for practices. And you need to go make friends with people at those, so that there's sort of, you have this opportunistic opportunity to, that might be redundant, but whatever. You have these opportunities where you can get together through the families or through your child, or find just a part groups, social groups, go to conferences. Hopefully there's secular conferences in your area. Do what you need to do. Get in to see and say, my child needs some opportunities. I'd see people putting these socialization posts in to see all the time in areas, and it seems to me that at least most of the time they find other people who are looking for social opportunities for their kids as well. My number one tip for homeschooling your only child is to relax and enjoy the ride. You are going to have a very close relationship with this individual. Enjoy it. Enjoy it for every minute of it. Children grow, they mature, they change. And so each part is so special and meaningful. Have a good time with it. Don't spend as, address what you can and need to, but find real time to enjoy this close collaborative relationship you have with this individual. I hope that it helps you. If you have any questions about homeschooling your only, please leave it in the comment section. I'll give some thought to it and then I'll get back to you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and enjoy.